working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines. President Rodrigo R. Duterte bagged 6 deals with China during his bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday evening. Indonesia's Papua plunged into chaos again Thursday as angry protesters torched buildings in its capital after nearly 2 weeks of riots and demonstrations in the easternmost province of the archipelago. Armed with smartphones, Myanmar esports players battle power outage. President Rodrigo R. Duterte bagged 6 deals with China during his bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday evening. The documents signed between the Philippines and China include 2 memorandums of understanding, one on higher education cooperation between the Commission on Higher Education and Ministry of Education of China, and on science and technology cooperation between the Department of Science and Technology and China's Ministry of Science and Technology. The Bureau of Customs also forged 2 agreements, including the implementation of the Intergovernmental Agreement regarding cooperation and mutual assistance in customs matters with China's General Administrations of Customs and the implementation contract of Project of China Aid Container Inspection Equipment with the Ministry of Commerce. The Department of Finance signed the agreement on exchange of notes on cooperation procedure for the availment and utilization of concessional loan under a renminbi-denominated loan facility with China International Development Cooperation Agency and with the Export-Import Bank of China for the preferential buyer's credit loan agreement of Project Management Consultancy of the Philippine National Railways South Long Haul Project. In his opening remarks, Duterte said the meeting with Xi reaffirmed the value of their relationship, both personal and official, built on trust, respect, and pursuit of mutual benefit for the 2 nations. Duterte said that there have been challenges to the ties between the Philippines and China, but the 2 parties pursue their commitments through comprehensive strategic cooperation. With channels for dialogue fully opened, agreements signed, and projects underway, there is a clear path of partnership and convergence, according to President Duterte. Indonesia's Papua plunged into chaos again Thursday as angry protesters torched buildings in its capital after nearly 2 weeks of riots and demonstrations in the easternmost province of the archipelago. More than 1,000 demonstrators marched around Jayapura, hurling stones and setting fire to shops and an assembly building following a deadly clash in another part of the jungle-clad province, which shares the island with independent Papua New Guinea. Carrying placards bearing the image of a banned flag, many called for independence from Indonesian rule and an end to racism against the minority group. Papuans are ethnic Melanesians and have few cultural ties with the rest of Indonesia. State power company PLN said the violence forced it to cut electricity in parts of Jayapura, a city of about 300,000 people. Several public facilities and buildings were damaged by the rioters, according to National Police spokesman Dedi Prasetyo. Security forces are still trying to control the situation, he adds. The protest comes a day after violence flared in remote Dayai, where a clash between protesters and Indonesian security forces left at least 1 soldier and 2 demonstrators dead, according to officials. The confrontation sparked reports that Indonesia's military, long accused of committing rights abuses against Papuans during a decades-old separatist insurgency had gunned down 6 protesters. Authorities denied that claim and said they were attacked by hundreds of Papuan armed with machetes and traditional bows and arrows. Some 300 extra personnel had been sent to Dayai to restore order, officials said Thursday, after Jakarta deployed more than 1,200 police and military members to Papua last week. 2 Myanmar migrant workers sentenced to death for the brutal murder of a pair of British backpackers in Thailand lost their final appeal Thursday in a case tainted by claims of irregularities. Zhao Lin and Win Zhao Tun were found guilty of the rape and murder of Hannah Withridge, 23, and of killing David Miller, 24, after their battered bodies were found on a beach on the southern resort island of Koh Tao in September 2014. Prosecutors insisted the evidence against the men from Myanmar's impoverished Rakhine state was clear, and announcing the verdict of a final appeal Thursday, Thailand's top court agreed. Their last hope now is for a royal pardon or commutation. During the proceedings, the defense said the evidence was not reliable as authorities mishandled DNA and did not allow independent analysis of samples and used confessions the pair said were forced. Police were also accused of buckling under pressure to solve a crime that made global headlines and threatened the tourism sector that accounts for a fifth of Thailand's economy. The original verdicts on the 2014 double killing divided relatives of the victims. Miller's parents backed the court's conviction, but the family of Withridge were more cautious, and a sister called the investigation bungled. Thursday's ruling said the confessions held up, as did forensic tests.
So the appeal court find both defendants guilty of murder of 2 tourists, and then the gang rape, and then murder to conceal the evidence from the other crime committed, and the judge sentencing them to the death penalty. We make very clear from the beginning that the defendant, both of them, do not understand their rights. At the time that they make a confession, they did not talk with the lawyer. They do not know what really going on, and and of course there is no interpreter. So all the information given as the as a witness, and then later on use it to file charge against them, and using all of that, is a legal problem. Because this is the last court, the only way that we can do for now, we're going to submit to the king for the royal pardon, and in other cases, then the king might granted some pardon, and maybe they will get like life imprisonment instead of death sentence.
Malaysia wants to return almost 200 shipping containers believed to contain plastic waste, officials said Thursday, but first they need to work out where they came from. Southeast Asia has been flooded with waste plastic from more developed nations such as the US, Australia, and Britain since last year, when China, which boasted a massive recycling industry, ordered a halt to imports. Malaysia has been particularly hard hit as many recyclers from China moved there as the ban took effect. The government has already sent back at least 10 containers of plastic waste to different countries and closed down 155 legal processing plants, Senior Environment Ministry official K. Nagalulendran said at the Foreign Correspondents Club of Malaysia on Thursday. However, officials are struggling to identify the origin of 198 more containers thought to contain scrap plastic at 3 ports. The contents have been declared a type of plastic which can legally be imported, but none of the containers had the necessary permits to enter the country. Several Southeast Asian countries have sent back unwanted waste in recent months, including the Philippines, which returned a huge shipment of garbage to Canada, and Indonesia, which shipped 5 containers to the U.S.
most important aspect. Located at 843B Sabino Padilla Street, Binondo, Manila.
Landmarks, Linggo, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi.
Welcome back. President Rodrigo Duterte has signed 4 laws declaring new tourist destinations, including 3 in Ilocos Sur province. All 4 laws were signed by Duterte on August 22, and copies of the documents were released to reporters on Thursday, August 29. Duterte declared Candon City Ecotourism Zone in Candon City, Ilocos Sur a tourist destination through Republic Act 11407. He also signed RA 11409 declaring Pinsal Falls in Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur a tourist destination. Santiago Cove in Santiago, Ilocos Sur was also declared as another tourist destination of the province under RA 11408. Duterte signed RA 11406 declaring Mount Bulaylay in Cuyapo, Nueva Ecija a tourist destination. Under the laws, the Department of Tourism, or DOT, in coordination with the Departments of Public Works and Highways and other concerned agencies of the government, will be tasked to prepare a tourism development plan involving the construction, installation, and maintenance of such appropriate facilities and infrastructure. The Philippine government is acting with urgency in its oil and gas exploration deals with China to secure energy supply in the country for the coming years, Philippine Ambassador to China Jose Santiago Santa Romana said on Thursday.
There's a hope that we move forward, and hopefully, because it's very important for the Philippines, the basic issue here, if you look at the big picture, is really one of energy security.
The envoy added that both parties would like to pursue joint exploration in disputed and undisputed areas in the West Philippine Sea and the South China Sea without giving up legal positions on certain issues.
At the MOU, there is a statement there that on the one hand, we follow the spirit of the UN Charter, UNCLOS, international law. On the other hand, both sides will proceed without giving up their positions, their legal positions on certain issues. So we're trying to find a way within certain parameters to move forward. And so far, it would take a lot of flexibility and pragmatism on both sides.
The Philippines and China signed the MOU on oil and gas cooperation in November last year. It served as a roadmap for parties to move forward discussions and possible areas of cooperation. According to the ambassador, the bilateral meeting of President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping on Thursday aims to agree on general points, a consensus that will provide the impetus for the working groups on both sides to continue and work on the details of the joint exploration. Currently, there is a moratorium on exploration and drilling activities in the West Philippine Sea due to tensions in the disputed waters.
the plan is, to get the framework ready so that the steering committee can start the ball rolling, and as well as the work groups, and they can start meeting, and so that the service contracts which have been affected by the moratorium can also proceed. Malampaya is running dry, and it's going to affect our power supply. So that's why the President is moving with a sense of urgency to move the process forward, especially in these last 3 years.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. Some of the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. Being a pro gamer in Myanmar is not always easy. In Myanmar, thanks to power cuts and shaky infrastructure, but the country's esports community is seeing a growing surge of interest as youths turn to mobile-only video games.
PC နဲ့ mobile နဲ့ကြာ mobile ကတိတ်ပြီးခက်ခဲအများကြီးမရှိဘူးဗျာကို online နဲ့ကိုဟို pay တွေပါလေဒါကြီးမကုန်အဲ့တော့ဆော့ရတာပို့လွယ်တယ် ADH ကျွန်တော်ဒီကိန်းကတော့ပေါက်လို့ပါကျေးဇူးပါတယ်
ရှင်ပါလက်ကုပ်တော်များများအားပါရဘုံပြပေးပါဦးဗျဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ပွဲမှာအဓိက
And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am one with 25.